Good afternoon and thanks for joining us. I'm Judy Simpson. As we close out another week here on Across the Fence, we're opening up our 60th anniversary archives. For today's Friday Flashback, we're going to take a look behind the scenes at the technology and the people of Across the Fence from 20 years ago. A lot has changed. Today's control room is computer-driven and the studio cameras are robotic. The 21st century digital revolution means no more videotape or tape decks. Those too have been replaced by computers. Back in 1995, an intern with Across the Fence wanted to show viewers the production in the field and behind the scenes. So here's our Friday Flashback.
Behind the scenes of Across the Fence, Take 5.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Across the Fence. My name is Jesse Gautin. I'm an intern here with Across the Fence. I've never been on this side of the camera before, but that's all right, because what I'm here to do is show you what goes on behind the scenes of Across the Fence, how the show is made. We're starting here on the UVM campus in Burlington at Morrill Hall, and the reason we're starting at Morrill Hall is because Justin Morrill, who was a U.S. Senator from Vermont, started the Land Grant Act back in 1865. And what that did is it set aside state land for colleges to provide education in agriculture. From there, the UVM extension system was born, and in conglomeration with WCX Channel 3, they decided to produce a daily television show. Now, you may have guessed that television show was called Across the Fence. And what we should do now is head over to the Channel 3 studios and take a look at what goes on over there. So I've got a car waiting beside me here, so why don't you come with me and we'll go see what happens over at Channel 3. All right, we're here in the Channel 3 studios right now, and over there on the set is Tony Adams. He's been host of the show for about 25 years. Now for this interview, we're going to try and turn the tables a little bit and see what happens. Hello and welcome to another edition of Across the Fence. I'm the host of our program this evening, or today, and with me is a very special guest, Tony Adams. Nice to have you on the show.
Nice to be with you.
I just had a few questions for you, Tony. This is a live-to-tape show, which means it's shot live and then it's put on a tape. So you have all the concerns of a show that's shot live. How do you prepare yourself for a show like that? What do you do to get yourself ready so that things don't go wrong?
Well, number one, I try to familiarize myself with the topic of the day. We have an outline on it, but I go through it and make sure I understand the questions. I add some questions, and I try to be the eyes and ears of the people back home. This is what it amounts to.
The eyes and ears. Now, I would assume that every now and then some things don't go exactly as planned. Can you think of anything that's happened, any things that spring to mind where things get a little out of hand and you have to...
Yeah, they happen from time to time, especially if you have very young people on the show. Sometimes we have young kids, maybe 3 or 4 years old, sometimes 5 or 6, and they're on there for 4-H or future farmers, and they're nervous, and sometimes they forget what they want to say, and it's my job to sort of smile at them and try to make them feel at ease, and if we can do that, then we got 90% of the show done.
Is that how you take care of when a situation arises? You just try and smile, laugh it off, and
you bet, you bet. There's nothing like a winning smile that kind of covers up the fact that maybe things have gone wrong. And we tell people to come on the show. It's an informal show. Mm-hmm. There's no real rehearsal on it, so that the questions appear to be spontaneous most of the time, and that's what we want people to do.
Excellent, excellent. Well, with that in mind, I think I'm going to turn this chair over to the professionals, and thank you very much for your time.
Well, very good. Do I start another Across the Fence show now?
Exactly. Well, that was kind of exciting, being host of a show for about 2 minutes. But now I got an idea. Let's go up to the control room and see what kind of cool electronic gadgets they have up there. Here we are in another part of the control room. Definitely a look but don't touch area, all these buttons and knobs. I wonder what this one does. Whoops, I think we better go back down to the studio.
And we're going to put the spotlight on spring on Across the Fence today, celebrating two important days, namely Arbor Day and Green Up Day in Vermont. And first, to tell us about Arbor Day, we have with us Steve Sinclair, who is with the Department of Forests, Parks, and Recreation. Steve, I know that arbor means tree, but tell us a little bit about the day itself, Arbor Day.
Well, you know, with the all the ceremonies surrounding the 25th anniversary of Earth Day.
Well, hello again. We're here now in the Agricultural Engineering Building on the UVM campus. And this here, all this stuff, this is part of the editing suite for Across the Fence. Now, all the shows that aren't shot in the studio are taken, they're shot, and they're brought here, and they're edited here to make the field shows. And Bill Knight, he's in charge of all that. He's the videographer, the editor, and the all-around general technician for all this equipment. When he goes out into the field with Lynn Jarvis, they go and they shoot the shows, they do the interviews, they do lighting, they do the whole 9 yards, and when he's done, he comes back here with a tape like this. Thank you, Bill. This is the field tape. This is the raw footage. And what he does, he takes this, puts it into the machines and edits it. He puts all the parts in order to make a perfect, coherent show. And when he's done, putting everything together with sound and music perhaps, they end up with a show like this. And this is the final product, and this gets taken up to the Channel 3 studios where they put it on the air. And this all seems like a very simple process, but it actually takes quite a while. It takes 1 hour, they figure, on average, 1 hour of work into a tape like this before you get 1 minute of finished product on a tape like this. Okay, now this is the video library. This is where we keep old Across the Fence shows for customer orders or archive purposes. We're going to go downstairs now and meet up with producer Lynn Jarvis. Okay, we're here in Lynn's office, but unfortunately, he's not here right now. However, this is television. We can make anything happen. Pretty neat, huh? Well, hello, Lynn. You can look at me now.
Hello, Jesse.
I just wanted to come down and talk to you because you are the producer of Across the Fence, and I figured we're trying to show viewers what it's like on the other side of the fence here, and so I figured it'd be important to talk to you. My first question is, a lot of the viewers see you on television and they know that you're the host of the show. But I wondered, what are some of your other responsibilities? What are the other things that you do as producer?
Well, Across the Fence is produced by UVM Extension and the Agricultural Experiment Station. So all of the programs that we do relate to UVM Extension or the Experiment Station. However, there are a few days during the month that we can put in other nonprofit organizations. So we get a lot of phone calls from people around the state that want to be on Across the Fence. So I have to sort out these calls, these program proposals, and come up with the shows that I think will appeal most to the viewers. I think the show, you might say, could be a little hazardous because we've done a show with the Royal Lipizzan stallions up in North Hero, and I was just saying what a wonderful, gentle animal they were. And as I was walking down, one bit me on the arm, and that we had to do some retakes after that. So I do enjoy it, and I hope to continue on for several more years.
I think I hear Bill loading up the car, so I'm going to go give him a hand, and I'll leave you to answer your phone mail messages.
Well, I'll start right now.
Thanks a lot. Well, Bill, I see you've got the car almost packed. This is an excellent time for me to tell all you cooking show fans about a very special recipe. This recipe is for an Across the Fence road show. Take 4 camera batteries, an entire lighting kit, a camera, a mixer with 3 wireless microphones, 1 tripod, a battery belt, and a utility bag full of various odds and ends, and carry them around the state for about a day. Return home and edit them over the next few days, and it should produce a scrumptious Across the Fence show, which, according to the latest Nielsen polls, serves 85 to 95,000 people.
Hello, I'm Lynn Jarvis, and this afternoon we're going to tour the town of Brookfield, Vermont, and meet some of the interesting people who live here. Today, a very special edition coming to you from the Eastern States Exposition in West Springfield, Massachusetts. Today we have come to one of the most historic and picturesque towns in the state, Windsor. Here in North Troy, we're just a stone's throw from the Canadian border.
Phew, that is enough driving for one day. But luckily, I've got an excellent idea to get to this last interview with Bob Loxton. Instead of driving, all we'll need is this lens cap and a little television magic. I simply put the lens cap over the camera like this. And ta-da, we're here now in the media studio of Bob Loxton. Bob, how do you do?
Hi, Jesse.
Well, I know that you've worked with Across the Fence for a long time, and you still help out with Across the Fence now. But I was wondering if you could tell the viewers some things about Across the Fence. It's a sort of a fun show, a very informal show to work on. I was wondering if you could tell them some things that they probably wouldn't know just being viewers of Across the Fence, things they haven't seen.
Yes, I have often thought, Jess, about those things, about whether the public occasionally wondered what it was like to be working for Across the Fence as a videographer. And 17 years ago, of course, I came on Across the Fence and began my work with Across the Fence tapings and whatnot. But I remember one scene in particular that that really was kind of like a watershed scene for me, or a watershed event, let's say. When I was just about trained with the portable equipment, and portable equipment those days was in several big, heavy, bulky packages, and it took quite an effort just to haul this equipment around. But we were in our some Vermont farm, a barn as a matter of fact, that had dairy cows inside, and my assignment for part of the show was to walk down the middle aisle between the cows and do this filming. I had never been around any cows in my whole life, and I had never even been in a farm. I was nauseated. The smells kind of got to me. The flies were buzzing around my head, and I thought, oh, how am I going to make it through this day? And so my job was to walk between the aisle and do this careful photography. And meanwhile, the flies buzzing around, like I said, and the cows in their random way slapping you with the tails, and each tail would just about dump me in the manure in the middle. And then, of course, the occasional kaplop as you're walking through. As the manure landed on my feet and around my ankles, and I thought I would never survive the day, and I really had a feeling deep in my heart I was going to be walking away from it and never looking back. But what happened was I got to the end of the aisle, and it was sort of open there at the end of the barn, and as I looked out, I saw a man that was, or a person, let's say, I really couldn't tell whether it was a man or a woman, covered with grit and grime in the pit, whistling and shoveling manure. Then I knew it was a rite of passage. I had passed. I would be a videographer for Across the Fence for the next 12 years.
Well, you've obviously passed the test, because I can see that you're still surrounded by video equipment. You've got stuff all around here. Could you tell me what you're doing with this stuff now? What is it that you work on?
Surely. In 1990, I became an independent and assumed the company name Iris Multimedia and Television Company. And what I do is do video productions for broadcast industry, business, and education. But one of the offshoots of our activities is production of a newsletter on information technology. that's being distributed very widely, and we're behind that effort 100%. It's a success.
I've seen that. It's very good. Well, excellent. Thank you very much for your time, and it was a hilarious story. We're going to head back to the studio now, so thank you very much. Okay, we're back in the editing studio, and the show is about over, but I hope you've had a chance to see some of the bizarre things that go on behind the scenes. It's a lot of fun here, and I'd like to thank Tony Adams, Lynn Jarvis, and Bob Loxton for doing interviews with me. That was a lot of fun. I'd also like to thank Bill Knight very much for putting a lot of this weird stuff together. It was a really good time, and I suppose it's time for me to go. I'd like to thank you once again for watching the show, and Bill, beam me up.